It's always under-promising and over-delivering every single time. And time is money. Oh, that is a pet raccoon. Oh my God.
They have pet raccoons. That's every industry. It's not real estate.
Yeah.
We get stuck talking about good and bad agents.
You want to learn from the opportunity when you don't get it as well, which I think a lot of agents don't do.
Welcome back to your favorite podcast on the planet, Realty Talk. I realized that I've kind of gotten away from my
The
introductions.
nicknames? Yeah.
So
we've been getting right to the point.
Yeah, straight to business.
Yeah.
But today's going to be different.
Okay.
I've got to my left the queen of the closing table, CEO, founder of the best real estate brokerage on the planet.
That was quite the introduction.
Let's
That was a good one.
Suzanne
Let's go.
Okay. And to your right.
To my right, we have the top agent in all of San Diego, maybe the world. Mr. I got to come up with a good nickname. I was just going to say Mr. You, but it's going to be Mr. CJ.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come up
Do
with
we
a good
have a
nickname
nickname
today.
already besides CJ? Because
Just
CJ's
CJ.
already
It's
a
a
nickname.
nickname,
So and you is such a how do you top that? Really can't.
We'll come up with one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have to come up with yours. And I'm telling you, I did at one point have a list.
Oh.
But nothing was like, that's the one. You know, you gotta help me, CJ.
Okay.
I do have a bit of an issue that I want to clear out if you guys are okay to start.
Of course.
When I walked into the room today, you were dressed very finely. I love the way that you're dressed. Your outfit is awesome. Same with you.
Thank you.
I feel a little bit embarrassed. Like I'm coming in with just a basic button down. I need help.
You're clean. You're clean.
I mean, I think that's you though. Like I feel that that's what makes you you. You. You know?
Not me.
I think you got to embrace your strengths and
Here's a challenge
your
then.
weaknesses.
I have a deal with Agent F,
Okay.
who's previously been on the podcast.
Yes.
Every time he sells a house, we go buy a pair of shoes together, and he gets to pick because he's pushing my comfort zone on footwear attire. But I think we need to do the same thing. You and I need to go do a couple deals together.
Okay.
We'll play around at golf and buy an item of clothing on me. You choose it, I buy. But we have to get the same thing.
Okay. I like jackets.
Let's do that.
So let's do some jackets.
I love that.
We're going to go shopping at South Coast Plaza.
Done. No, I'll come to you.
Okay, you're going to be Fashion Valley.
Yeah.
Go to Fashion Valley,
Done
UTC.
and done.
That's
All
fun.
right, I love it.
I like that.
So my introduction was probably not as great as yours would be. So
We went
can you
a
do the
little-
formal introduction?
Yes, we went off track, but I'm sure our listeners love it. So CJ, we are excited to have you here. One of the top agents, definitely in San Diego. But I think what's most interesting and most exciting for me in particular is I've seen you grow from just being an agent to now building a team. And I feel like every day there's the closing from CJ and his team. So I'm excited to talk about that growth. And also what's really interesting is you kind of have a team within a team as well. And how you've made that work where I think a lot of times, and again, excited to dive into this, but I've seen in the past where agents struggle to do that, where they feel that they're growing out of a team. And I've seen where you have taken the opposite approach, where you're saying, I love my team, I want to be a part of my team, but I can still grow and expand my own team as well. So I think we can talk about that, but I think that's something really interesting and unique that you've been able to do with huge success for us to dive into. So, okay. Well, with that though, first we have to talk market and current events and all that good stuff. So what's happening? What do people need to know? What's this week? What's going on this week?
Market is very unique, is the way I would explain it. Some of the data points that I'm looking at right now, 34% of active listings at a national level are tired. So the data point comes from John Burns. So we'll give him all the credit. Obviously, we're just reading his weekly and monthly updates, but they polled agents and they said, I guess, Q1 was 5.4% fewer deals trading at the U.S. As a whole, as a market than it was last year, that same time, which is the smallest amount of transactions closed all the way back to 2020, I believe. And days on market are increasing at a national average. And agents believe that that's because homes are not ready to be listed. So they're, 34% of those transactions it was either 34 or 38% of those transactions were tired. So they had some sort of cosmetic deficiency that was not going to, get the transaction to close quickly on market. So, to me, that's like a fundamental of a lot of issues. We've got, a demand, kind of issue wobbling. Consumers are a little bit, I think they're lacking confidence because of the political environment.
Right.
Tariffs are coming in. They're worried they're going to lose their job. And we still have a major supply problem. But you have these expectations of a seller. We're coming out of a 4-year window of time where, you list something, it sells in 5 days with 1 million offers over ask. So that expectation hasn't adjusted. So that, a seller's bringing back a subpar product expecting top tier pricing. Demand's lackadaisical, so days on market's going to continue to increase.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing. And then there's like this weird fracture of micro markets. You normally don't see it this way when you look back at real estate historicals for the last 50 years. You have a market like Orlando, for example, that's got like a year of inventory.
Yeah.
And then you have San Diego, which by definition is the best market in the United States right now.
Yeah.
But they have no inventory at all, 30 days worth or maybe less.
Yeah, I think finally it's over 30 days, but it's been less than that since COVID. It's crazy.
But it's weird to see that much disparity between, two markets in the US. So I don't know. That's my kind of hot take.
Yeah.
It's not really a hot take. It's just data points.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I think what's interesting about that is that's something that we strive to solve for at the brokerage, at Buy House. Like that's something that we have identified as a need for consumers long before that report, right? Of like giving and arming the customer with options to actually put in some work into their property and then not have to pay out of pocket for that, and we can help them with that. So I think it just speaks to like we've been seeing that, and we know that there's a need for that, and but now it's all across the country. So
the average American has less cash on reserve than they've ever had. Like I think in savings less than $400.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And credit card debt is the highest it's ever been, over like $1.7 trillion, I think. Wow. And so if somebody owns a house and they're kind of like making ends meet, when they go to sell, they don't have 10 grand to go fix the roof or 30 grand or whatever to go and put in a new kitchen to go and get top dollar, but they're still expecting top dollar. So I'd pivot that over to you. Like what's your experience been over the last few months or a year in San Diego, and what do you feel about kind of those metrics and data points?
Yeah. So kind of what you're saying, we have about a little over 5,100 homes in the San Diego market that's detached and attached homes as of this past Monday. And so getting closer to the 6,000 mark where it's considered kind of closer to a buyer's market. Different little pockets that I'm seeing in San Diego. Some are flying off the market with multiple offers still currently, like 92129 in the Park Village area, 100 to 200,000 above asking, with maybe 5 to 7 offers on it. And then there's different markets in a different price point under $1 million, single family house in Escondido. I finally just sold it yesterday, but that was on the market about 6 months. Wow. So I just sold a Park Village home, multiple offers, 2.2, we just sold that. And then we have one selling at 743. Yeah. A lot more affordable, but that took about 6 months. So when we saw kind of before, it was the story of anything under $1 million was just flying. Yeah. Anything over 1.5 was a lot longer. So what I'm seeing now is just what we've always seen as location is always going to be what separates what's going on in the market right now. We have a Temecula property in the Riverside County. We listed it pretty aggressive, about 30,000 below the last comp, and we have 3 offers in 7 days, where the average days on market is almost double than San Diego.
Wow.
So it's really how you just price it and kind of the expectations with sellers. I mean, we did renovate that, and helping the seller to be able to do that, to be able to get them top dollar. So that's what I'm seeing in the market right now. A lot of hesitancy, and but still people are making moves, and just depends on the specific zip code. So I don't try to generalize it when I'm talking to my consumers. Location is everything. Not even just the price point, but hey, how specific do you want to be? And I'll be able to cater to that, because it's pretty wide range right now, what I'm seeing.
Yeah, we should double click on something you just said, though, because CJ's amazing. He's humble, and he's not going to say these things on his own. But what you just pointed out is that and from my opinion, if you're a seller or a buyer in San Diego County, you have to call CJ, because you just outlined how you create expectations for your seller to see a successful transaction.
Yeah.
Right.
Where, before we started recording, maybe it's part of it, I don't know if we can edit it in, but we talked about other sellers that just have unreasonable expectations, and agents saying, oh, hopefully we sell it this year.
Yeah.
That's not the way you operate your business.
No. Right.
And so if you're really a motivated buyer or seller, I mean, he's here.
This is your guy.
We'll give you all the details at the end of the clip. He's
Yeah.
He's ready.
Thank you.
No, setting expectations are so important. And I think, there are different strategies, right? Like, I am a believer that you price it right, or maybe even a little under, because if you do not have other offers coming in or eyes to the property, like, who are you selling to?
Yeah.
So, but I think, there are often times where agents, it's almost like there's an ego thing, or even with the seller, sometimes it's an ego thing, or I mean, and rightfully so, pride of ownership, but I think, education is huge, and it's really important to take that to your seller.
Thank you. Yeah.
I wonder if it's, not to disagree, but like, I wonder too, with the variance in expectations from a seller, I wonder now if what we're seeing is agents have had a limited amount of inventory to go and list. And so they're becoming desperate because they have less opportunity. So when a seller comes in and says, hey, I will list with you, but this is the number. I think, an average real estate agent might not have the confidence to say, look, I'm not going to take that deal unless you go here. Because I won't be able to succeed for you. And someone like yourself that's actively working on a lot of deals, you don't have to take every listing.
No.
Is that separating you from your competition, you think? Or do you see that activity happening? Maybe I'm wrong. I have a sense that might occur.
Yeah, no, definitely. I see it a lot, and I think for me, it's how I like to operate my business, is always under-promising and over-delivering every single time. And time is money. So if you have someone that is unrealistic with what their expectations are, and maybe it's not a fit, just as much as I'm interviewing for the opportunity to sell their house, they're interviewing me, but I'm also interviewing them. Right. Time is money. Where I could be spending, so much time with the seller where we're actually not going to even sell the home. I say, hey, we might not be the best fit. This is my expectations. I think I'm not the best fit. And I'm just pushing it away. And in that, sometimes I lose the deal, or sometimes when I do push away, they actually say, hey, because you did that, I actually think I want to trust you more.
I really
want to work with you. So that's what separates me. And because I want to spend time with people that trust me, that I trust them. It's a mutual agreement versus having this tension in the deal. There's already a lot of stress in real estate, and how do we make this as stress-free as possible? And you're dealing with a lot of emotions. I'm a part-time counselor in the deal, therapist. I didn't go through marriage and family therapy, but that's what we're doing. And so how do I give you all the best options? What is best for you? How do we set the timeline? And how do we work backwards from there and move forward? And if we're not a good fit, I have to be able to be okay moving away from it.
Right.
And when I've walked away, I've actually been blessed with double the opportunity. And so just with that mindset of being unattached, I always want to try to be detached from the outcome, and it's been working out. It wasn't like that in the beginning.
Yeah.
But that's the headspace I'm in now.
And also, I think one thing that you do that I've noticed is you want to learn from the opportunity when you don't get it as well, which I think a lot of agents don't do, where you circle back and you ask, like, hey, can you let me know why, or, what the situation was so that you can be better in the future?
Yep.
And I think that's so important, because so many times agents are just like, well, and just, and upset, or I didn't want to work with them anyway, but really, I mean, learning from every opportunity to grow. I've seen you do that, and I think it's why you are in the position you're in today. And to your point, it doesn't matter what market it is, what kind of market it is, there will always be an agent that's going to come in and tell a seller that they can sell the property for the price that the seller is asking for. Unfortunately, that's just the way we do, what we deal with in the industry, because, I mean, one, there are so many real estate agents, as we know, but, for our listeners, that is how you know you have a good real estate agent, is when they will be honest with you, and they will push back with comps, with support, and, recognize where they can maximize on the home and market that, and maybe do some things to the home to get it to that price, if that's something that they're looking to do. But I think the honesty is much more important than just hearing that number.
Yeah, I hear you saying that you've got an active mindset of abundance. So if and to your point, a very curious mindset as well. So I mean, that's what's separating you from everybody else. But I want to dive into, because we jumped straight in. How did you get started in real estate? What inspired you to head down this pathway in life, and what got you to the position you're in today?
Long story short, I mean, I've always done customer service type of jobs in the food industry, working at a hospital for a little bit as a nurse assistant. I think that's partly influenced from family, culture, and then I went into the world of photography and videography and weddings. And I think that helps with just my social media, just how things can be portrayed, and just the aesthetic. And then I worked at a TV and radio company for a little bit. And I was in a crossroads when I finished my undergrad in biblical studies, and I've always had a heart, and my faith is a big thing for me. And so serving in my church, and even that whole thing, kind of relearning of, okay, business can be where I serve people, in not just in the business aspect, but in the realm of like faith, and just being able to encourage people. I've prayed over people that are going through a divorce, and she's going through a hard time, and helping her sell her home and things like that. So it's been very fruitful. And so I actually was avoiding real estate for a long time. I thought it was just a lot of shady people, which is interesting, because I think a lot of people can see that, where they're over-promising and under-delivering. That's just my experience in the real estate world. But I got inspired to see it in a different light and a different perspective, that it can be actually really great, and there are great people in the industry, and there are great professionals. But I guess just what my family has experienced before just put a sour taste in their mouth. I'm like, well, how can I give a better taste in people's mouth by serving them in the industry? So I got my license September 2019, joined Xandra and Team Z in January 2020, and I went full-time February 2021, and I became a team lead in April of 2024. So just hitting about a year.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what kind of, I mean, not that this is what matters, but what kind of volume, do you see your team doing in 2025?
For 2025, if I were to just stay on the same trajectory that I'm at right now, I'm about at 48 to 50 mil in personal production.
Great.
Which I set myself for about 80 mil for my goal. And so how do I step up there? But if where I'm at right now, currently, that's where I'm at within the U group itself, probably another 50 mil.
Wow.
So about 100 mil for about 7 of us.
Yeah.
Is the goal. So
congrats.
Yeah. And so
it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking back, and you're a nurse assistant, or you're working in the TV radio job. Would you ever have imagined that you'd be in this position at the end of 25, selling $100 million worth of real estate on your team?
Not at all. I think, but I was expecting to be like a coffee shop owner, grinding 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and maybe making ends meet. But I think, and which is great, and I appreciate. I think it helps me to appreciate every job that I've had. Helped me to really appreciate people that are working in that industry, and it's also helped just with my mindset. It's helped with how I interact with people. You know, work in the hospital, you're dealing with high stress, high emotion, whether it's the patient or the client.
Yep.
In coffee shop or food, you know, people are hungry or hangry,
Yeah.
so you're dealing with a lot of emotions, and you know, biggest days of people's lives is a lot of stress. Like wedding photography, like I don't know, I guess I was just, you know, the scary part is like, what if you lose your SD card or it? But I never had that. Loss. I was just the confidence. Like I'm gonna get it done. We're gonna make it happen, and we have the systems in place to do it. So, I definitely didn't imagine that. I'd probably be working at a coffee shop or maybe a part owner, but now I am an investor in a coffee company, so that's pretty cool. And that's through real estate. I've been able to invest and partner with a coffee company.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I want to double click on one piece.
Yeah.
I think part of our responsibility as we talk about real estate on our podcast, it's easy for us to talk about how some agents are great and some agents are bad. But I feel like it's my responsibility to explain that that's every industry. It's not real estate.
Yeah.
We get stuck talking about good and bad agents.
Yeah.
But coffee, for example, like I drink a lot of it all the time. And there's days where I go to a coffee shop and it's like, oh, that is a bad cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And then I go to the same place and I get a great cup of coffee. And, you know, so much of it is just, it's the Pareto effect, right? 80% of the results come from the top 20% of people in any specific industry or role.
Yeah.
And 20% come from the bottom 80, right? And so our job and you know, now your job is to inspire team members to be in that top 20% and produce 80% of the volume. And so much of it goes back to your mindset, you know, optimism, abundance, transparency.
Yeah.
You know, what you said that's inspiring to me is, you know, you're a man of faith and you carry that with you in your conversations and you're transparent.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately drives confidence in somebody doing business with you because they can sense that you are truly who you are. So you're not, you know, I meet salespeople that actually have like a different voice when they sell, right? Or they have a different way of communicating. Like you're authentically who you are. And humans are smart creatures. Like they can sense when somebody's not authentic. And so that's probably why you are, you know, as successful as you are. But I want to go deeper though, because like what do you think, you know, about your background or about the way you are as an individual has inspired you to think that way? Because you know, every conversation we have with someone like you, we have 4 others with people that are like, oh, the world is so bad. And what if I do lose that SD card? And, you know, that client told me no, and I'm upset and sad about it, and I'm emotional. What makes you think differently? Did you have an event in your childhood that, you know, made you that way?
Well, I think I should just say it's clear that family is a big part of CJ's life because even today he brought his mom and his sister here awesome. with him. So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, just kind of, I mean, going back to, you know, my parents split at 3 years old, but I think that's taught me resilience, and they were able to upbring and, you know, help me in that process. But yeah, faith and church has been a big thing in my, you know, my walk with God and with Jesus has been a huge factor of, and not from a place of judgment to anyone. And I respect all, you know, where everyone's at, you know, whatever religion, whatever, et cetera, politics, it's always just come from a place of understanding, a place of grace, a place of how can I serve these people no matter where they're at. And I think with that mindset of just servant leadership has really been a big factor to where I'm at today.
It's awesome.
And I would also say one thing that I know about CJ is that he is quite the entrepreneur. Like he's always trying to. It's very similar. I mean, we've had a few agents on the podcast, and I think it's funny because you know we've talked about tenacity being probably one of the most important assets or attributes of a real estate agent. But what I've noticed from our top agents that have been in here and that we've communicated with, they're all like dabbling in other things, and you have that entrepreneurial spirit. which I think, it's that driver. And we've just seen it quite a bit. So, as you mentioned, the coffee shop, but there are other things that that you have your hands in as well that, real estate has kind of enabled you to do. And I think that is where we see, huge success from our agents is when they can diversify a little bit so that no matter where the market is, they're really comfortable and they're doing really well. So
yeah, I do. Yeah. Thank you. I do want to point out for that because 2023, I feel like I got sidetracked. I was doing good on my trajectory of business, continuing to grow, almost double every single year. But 2023, it wasn't the greatest year, and I think it's because I was distracted with too many business things. Oh, do a laundromat, do this, do that, and everyone tries to do too many things. So what I've learned is to just be a really good, whatever you're going to pursue. If it's real estate, just go 100% in real estate.
Yep.
Every other thing that you can do, be an investor into it. You have to have a good operator because you can do different businesses, but you're not going to grow in your specific business.
Real estate is a full-time job. Like anyone that tries to say otherwise is, it's not realistic.
Yeah.
Real estate is full-time. And I love that you said that because that's actually, I think, just as it's what I have agents in mind that that are in my head right now, where it's like, I love the entrepreneurial spirit, but you have to know your limitations, and as you said, invest and be smart about it because you can get really sidetracked with projects that, I mean, it may never end up working out. So
and just for a quick reference, 2022 as trajectories did 21 mil in that year, and then that's 2022, and then 2023 I did about the same, and then 21 million, and then last year I ended up at 38 million. Just by focusing all on real estate. I didn't do any other coaching. I was all in with just Z. I was just coaching with her every week. We were building together, and this year, hoping to hit that 50 mil plus. And I'm still just focused all on real estate and digging deeper with other opportunities and businesses. But I think just deeper in the realm of real estate and having the connection there. So versus doing too many different types of businesses and understanding my limits, setting the right expectations, and being a team lead now is another aspect of it. So I would just encourage people that do something, go all in and be an expert in it, and then maybe you can add the rest to it.
So when did you make the coffee investment?
I made the coffee investment in 2023. Yeah, and
so there's a trend. He started drinking more coffee, and more deals came.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's what it is.
I have a commercial grade espresso machine at my house.
Do you?
Yeah, that I make coffee every day.
So we got to move on to the next segment.
Yeah.
But tell us about this coffee investment. What are you doing in that space?
Yeah, so it's a great, cool opportunity. So this is a good friend of mine. I helped him buy and sell his primary home, and then that was my first commercial deal because he was at a coffee in La Mesa too, just right next door, and he said, "Hey." Just a relationship. He didn't even actually need me to represent him on the buy side. He had a direct relationship with the owner, and he could have just went straight to him. He said, "Hey, CJ, I want you to represent us," almost like a freebie, which is pretty crazy, and you get compensated. And then in that, I said, "Okay, can I use that commission to, after getting paid, reinvest back into the company?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll give you some shares in the company." And it's not just for that coffee shop. It's the shareholder, so he has that. Plus, he has different restaurants, different speakeasy, a cigar bar, all these things. So I'm a shareholder in the whole holding company versus just one at a time. So he gave me that opportunity.
He's speaking my love language.
I know.
Speakeasy. Food, coffee, cigars, speakeasy. Yeah. It's a crazy opportunity. So it's just relationships are everything, and it's been a great opportunity. Just humbled and thankful for it.
Good for you.
I love it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we're going to play a little game. So, okay. Instead of Homes Gone Wild, first, we are going to talk about, we have kind of gotten away from this a little bit the past few episodes.
Yeah.
But at times, listeners will submit and agents will submit their wildest stories to us. And Paul usually reads them, and we get to see him processing it as he's reading. It's really fun. But since we have someone boots on the ground who has done a ton of transactions, we thought we'd go right to the source to hear your craziest real estate story.
Yeah, I think I do pretty good with temperament and just management with the whole expectation. So it's not too crazy, but I think, I guess it was just whenever you do dual agency, it can get pretty messy if you don't set the right expectations. So I did my first dual agency. I reached out to lender partners and other realtors. Hey, do you have a buyer for my off market? And a lender partner said, hey, I have a buyer that you can actually represent and we'll do a deal. I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
Make more money.
Amazing.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. This was probably about almost 3 years ago. It wasn't amazing. It's just like, there's a lot of complaints on both sides. Just a lot of like, I gave him all this, and then this guy's like, well, I want to negotiate this, and then so I was like, I'm hard pressed. I'm going to cancel him on it now, and so everyone's just, yelling at me on both ends and I'm like, well, what do I do? I'm trying to please both people, make them happy, and with dual agency now, it's like I always have to set the right expectation of, hey, my fiduciary duty is for the seller first and foremost, and that is my priority. If I'm going to represent you on the buy side, just know, I can give you some inside scoop, but at the end of the day, my priority is the seller. If you're okay with that, then let's move forward. And so now it's okay with those things, but I would just say, not the craziest story, but it's just a lot of that. That was very stressful. I would say.
Yeah. Okay. I think that you're very lucky.
Thankfully,
that is your craziest real estate story.
Well,
but
I do have some, but they're in litigation right now. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
There's two that are there's two crazy stories that I can share.
I know about those.
Call me back in about 6 months,
exactly.
and then when it's all settled, then we can share that story.
Fair enough.
I think that's smart.
Done.
So what advice, because you did kind of catapult your real estate career very quickly.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to really, whether it's a real estate agent or anyone looking to jump into a new field, about, how you made that, why you made that decision, how you made that decision, and how you've been so successful?
Okay, for sure. I would go. It's all about mindset for sure, and just getting that mind right, and the expectation of, hey, whatever industry, especially real estate, 85% of people in the first 18 months they fail in this industry. Yep. So I was able to overcome that going into it. I knew it was going to be hard. I knew I had to have reserves. Just for any business, right? You have to have savings in order to get into it, because you don't want to get into that commission breath thing. It's just worse for your mindset and business, and people can feel that. So putting all these things in place to, having enough savings in place for whatever business you go into in real estate, understanding it's going to be really hard, understanding it could take 6 to 12 months to get your first deal. So when you have all these things in place, it allows you to just be a little bit more relaxed and free. And so the more I'm unattached, the more I'm detached to the outcome and just more focused on the process, it's been really, really helpful. Not to say that there's been times where it's really, really tight, but I like the example of, like, I've just heard, the blessings can't flow if you're holding it so tight. And so when you have your hand open and you think of sand just falling through it, and so when you're just in a relaxed state of mind. I'm about to go to Hawaii this week, and every time I go on vacation, I always get referrals and deals. So I always book a vacation every quarter just to get my mind right. Because people are like, I need to work, and I can't get the opportunity or things now. I'm like, no, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do a 90-day sprint. Work my butt off, get the systems in place, and that's helped me to refresh, restart, and just doing things to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself first, take care of your family, and then the business next. Versus people ought to just focus on the business first, and then their family, and then their self. And if you're not able to pour into people, you're just going to get burnt out. If you're not having a good home life, it's going to stress you out. And so those are all the aspects that have helped me in my business, in any business.
I love it.
Yeah. So when do we go to Hawaii?
I know. I'm like, well, this sounds,
this Saturday.
But it's funny. I've said the same thing. I'm not good at, when I go on vacation, I'm not really on vacation. I work the entire time.
I do too.
But I have actually set the same thing. It's once a quarter. You have to take some time for yourself and step away, because it gives you the opportunity to reflect on, what you need to make changes on, and it's so important. So yes. Okay, well, now we're going to play our really fun game. Okay. So we are going to close it out today by playing Rate That Listing. So we're going to get location, price of home, number of bedrooms and bath, and square footage. And we're going to rate the listing, each of us individually. So we're going to look at some photos here. And you know what I was thinking? I feel like next time I don't want the price. I feel like next time we need to guess the price of the property because some of these,
difficult.
but
Yeah, that's gonna be
I
hard.
feel like if we get the location, I think we should add that in. But okay, this one is in West Alexandria, Ohio. 254,800, 4-bed, 2-bath, 1,650 square feet. So.
I just want to talk about that for a second. 250.
I thought you wanted to Google
No.
West Alexandria.
That is $153 a square foot.
Wow.
I don't think anyone can build a house that cheap anymore.
No, it's not possible.
Seems like a fixer.
Maybe in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we could probably build that one.
Okay, let's see.
So some of our, this is where some of our people just listen.
Yeah.
And they don't get to watch, the videos. So we
Yeah.
have to try to explain it. We've got, I don't know, maybe a 20-foot flagpole, 2 just kind of random boulders, and in the walkway, and this really expansive, very beautiful grassy area. I mean, it looks like a big lot.
Yeah.
Huge lot. Oh.
Okay.
All right.
So what's going on with the drywall? Maybe it was like wallpaper that they tore off?
I like that photo with the island, Hawaii
Is
right
that a
there.
dead
That's
dog
a good AI.
on the floor?
I think
What
it's
is that?
two
I
dogs. I think
hope
it's 2
not.
dogs that are
Oh,
alive.
it's 2 dogs that are alive. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there's a third.
Everyone's alive.
Oh, it's a cat.
Don't worry,
maybe.
listeners. Dogs are
Oh, that's a
breathing.
cat. 2 dogs.
Cat.
Okay.
Oh, nobody knows.
Fixer. Hey, Snowflake.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Oh.
We got some interesting artwork.
Yeah.
We've got
boy.
like a that looks
Modern
like
chandelier.
linoleum, a red linoleum floor.
Great wallpaper.
Oh, yeah. This is going in the right
Oh.
direction.
Oh, there's a bed next to a recliner.
Perfect. Just go straight
The
to bed.
listing
Just go
photos.
straight to bed.
Yeah. Okay, so is that the wallpaper? Oh, yeah, it's half wallpaper.
You got
Yeah,
3
but
different
look-
wallpapers.
I think somebody needs to call it's not CPS because
Animal
that's for
control?
kids. Animal control.
Animal
Look at-
control.
Look at the floor.
Yeah, that's
not
pretty
I don't
looking
like the
good there.
dogs
Yeah.
walking on
All
there.
right, Lilo and Stitch, another Hawaii AI.
Okay, this is strange.
Wow, Santa Claus.
Christmas.
This is like
Christmas.
a 19. I bet this home was built in 1955. We could go
At
with the
least.
listing, but look at that yellow vanity.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Wallpaper.
What is this?
Dang.
Is this the
Washer,
garage?
dryer. Could be a garage.
Just
Mudroom.
Just some microbial growth all over.
Microbial growth.
Yes. That sink is
Yes.
definitely clean.
Okay.
Some
Okay.
updated flooring.
They're into cows. Did you
Wow.
notice that? So there were cow paintings in the kitchen. There's cow paintings in the.
You got
What is
like,
that animal?
looks like a
there's
raccoon on the
cat
left.
In a cage.
Is that a cat or a raccoon?
That is a raccoon.
Oh,
I think
there's
that's a raccoon.
They have pet
Why
raccoons.
are these the
Oh, that is a
listing
pet raccoon.
photos?
Oh my.
They have pet raccoons in the house.
Why are-
That's the cleanest floor in the whole house.
I
and
know.
a raccoon lives in it. This person loves cows and raccoons.
Why
Fireplace. They
are
like
these the listing
they like brick
photos?
wallpaper
I don't
for sure, and they like
understand.
Holy
Hawaii.
smokes.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know what
moving
happened.
along.
Okay.
How much was this listed for?
Yeah, I'm gonna rate this.
254,000.
I'm gonna rate. Oh,
you got a
that.
farm.
You got a
We've got
farm.
pig.
You get pigs.
Dang.
Do they come with
That's a beautiful
the
photo.
Oh, I'd take the
property?
red golf cart.
I like the outside better than the inside.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also see it's like out in the sticks. They've got a big propane tank, so they're not. I mean, they're out there.
There, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, this is
yeah.
not-
There's potential. There's animal neglect. There's strange things happening with raccoons.
There's.
I'm very confused why these would be the listing photos. Like,
Makes no sense. It's a
I'm rating this from like a listing agent perspective. They completely failed. This is a 0 for me.
On a scale
there's-
Wow.
Sorry,
Scale of
Zero.
scale
Zero?
of 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
And that's a 0?
There's a 0.
Wow.
It's the animals for me that they pushed me
Okay,
over the
okay.
edge.
I am going to rate this as an investor. It is a 5 out of 5.
Yes,
I
you
want
want it. You want it.
This has got a lot of opportunity. The bones look good. The lot, I mean,
yeah.
it could be a beautiful place to live.
I think it could be beautiful. Probably rate it.
Unless the agent, maybe they put the animals in the cages in the photos, so that way someone would come to the house and rescue these animals.
Yeah,
Maybe-
that definitely doesn't look like
maybe it was
AI. That definitely doesn't look like AI.
No, this is
what
a
is-
real deal.
What is your rating?
From an end user buyer, I'd probably rate this a 1.
Okay, so we have
Yeah.
0 and a 1
Yeah.
from the 2 best agent brokers on the planet,
Yeah.
and an
And
investor
investors
saying
are
it's a 5.
investment, I would say
He's
5.
sold. Yeah. I get it, but
I don't think we're flipping in Ohio yet. Should we write an offer on that? Is it active?
we need him.
I
It is
wonder.
currently active since Christmas. They had the Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas.
I think it's
So it's a
Christmas year
tire
round.
listing. We can get this picked up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to make the offer contingent. Can you represent me?
Let's go. Let's do
I'm
it.
going to make the
Ohio.
offer contingent on getting the pig and the golf cart.
Sold. Easy deal. All right. Well, with that, I think that's a wrap. Is there anything else that you feel that you want to share with our listeners? Anything you can think of?
I did want to touch. If you wanted to talk through the U group and Team Z thing before we leave.
Actually, you're right. Yeah, we should talk about that because I think you have been one of the few. I think I shouldn't say the few, but oftentimes what we see in the industry is some friction when with team leads and team members. A team member hits a certain point and they feel that they need to kind of go off on their own. And we see a lot of friction with that within the brokerage, but even just with the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
And some of the reasons that I think, contribute there, I would say, there's lack of training in the real estate space in general outside of team leaders or Mentorical, our program, or brokerages that are really going heavy in on training.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, you're kind of on your own as an agent representing, which again kind of leads to that 80% we talked about earlier, representing people on the most important transaction of their lives, and a ton of money and a ton of stress. And as you mentioned, I mean, there's so much more to it than just buyers, sellers, close, escrow. So with that, I think that there's a lot of friction because it's almost like as an agent, in order to be successful, they often feel like they have to join a team. But then what comes after that, and how did you navigate that, being on a team and now starting your own team?
Yeah. So I've been in partnership again with Z since 2020. And she's, give credit where it's due. She's been a huge part of my success and where I'm at today. I wouldn't be where I'm at without her support, without your support over the years, and encouraging me to actually step into the role of leadership. I didn't want to because I've heard it just, it's a lot of work with not a lot of return. But she encouraged me to step into that. So I appreciate that from her. And the concept is just continuing to build together. We've built from the beginning. Let's continue to build now, and let's continue to build in the future. And so I give kudos to the leadership that Z has with that mindset. Because a lot of other leaders and maybe other brokers, and why people leave to other things is, hey, let me build you up, and then after that, I'm just going to sit back and never work and continue to build with you. And so that's why people can be like, okay, well, if I'm not growing with you, then I can just do it on my own. And so ever since the beginning, I've always continued to grow and grow deeper in my relationship with Z, in our business relationship. And, she's also open. As I give her feedback, she gives me feedback. So that type of leader is rare to find. And so I think that's why it's been so fruitful for us. And in my mindset, how I approach it is, yes, she gets a part of it, but it's a great relationship where we're continuing to build together. I'd rather build with her than build alone, and it's very stressful. So we can see eye to eye on where we're at. I just love. Again, what I give credit back to her. What she's created, the platform helps me to thrive, and we continue to grow together. And that's where we're at, and I want to continue that. And I think I want to encourage other people and other leaders to have that same mindset. It has to work where the same relationship that, or how Z approaches business and how I approach business. It's a growth mindset and abundance together. And when you don't have the same mindset of abundance together, it's not going to work.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of people where it's just all about me, all about me. It's like, no, yes, it is about you, but I'm also like, how can I also give back to Z what she's poured into me? And I don't bite the hand that feeds me, and I just love building with her. So, and I think by me doing that has opened up so many other doors and continue to build. And I don't do it for those opportunities, but I do it because I see a future. I see a true partnership, and when you see it as a true partnership, all the other things don't really matter. And that's what I'm super thankful for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And thank you for the opportunity, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing your insight, and I hope that this was valuable for
Yes.
many others as well that are in similar situations.
Yes.
And yeah, we appreciate you being here. But
Thank you.
Yeah, I would close by saying if you're in San Diego, you're going to sell a house, buy a house, or you're an agent that needs additional support,
Yes.
the U Group.
yeah,
Media Group.
That's
Your
your
guy.
only. It's your only option.
Let's
There's
go.
nobody else.
Let's
Delete
go.
everyone else's phone number. Call CJ or somebody on his team. They got you covered.
Happy to help.
We'll post all of your contact information and stuff.
Thank you.
For our listeners, please subscribe. It helps us a lot. We appreciate everyone listening. This is what gives us the opportunity to continue to put out content. But I'll close with just saying that, for us, I don't want to speak for you, but for me and us, we talk a lot about it. It's incredibly inspiring to see someone like yourself take the actions that you're taking on a daily basis with the level of integrity that you bring to the business. I'm honored to get to work with you and to get to interact with you and just deeply appreciative of what you shared today. I think what's happening, but you're inspiring other people to be better on a daily basis, and that's inspiring to us. And so we're just really grateful for everything you're doing, and we can't wait to hear all these gory stories in 6 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
or
6
6
months.
months.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Thank you guys. Thanks
Okay. Well, that's a wrap. We'll see you next time.